Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lists, a little series I'm doing to cover a bunch of broad subjects that interest me. List stands for Life is Short, because I always think, even in the grand scheme of things, if life is short, there's still plenty of time to talk about a bunch of dumb or interesting topics. For today's topic, we're going to be talking about how finding the purpose of life can really unlock your keys to life. Now I know saying finding your purpose sounds pretty basic, and I would say is that general idea that at least we all have of trying to find our purpose in the big thing we call life. But I feel it's at least a topic that's a bit interesting that sounds kind of fun to talk about. For all of my life, I've always had this idea of just that bigger purpose that I feel like always needs to be fulfilled. I don't know if I can speak for everyone, but I feel like it's at least a common idea for wanting to be able to do something you're good at, or just have a good idea that you know that you are doing something and that it really fulfills you in a way where you're just truly happy. I know for me, I've been trying to chase a purpose unintentionally and then more intentionally at these past couple of years, and for me, I found a bit of a purpose in me is just talking and having genuine conversations in that regard. It could be maybe just having a conversation with someone, or it could be talking in front of important, in quotation marks, people, and just being able to have that ability to talk. I at least felt like that was a good purpose that really fit me and who I am. I know I don't have any skills in being philosophical, and all I've learned is just random things throughout my life and a bit in my schooling, but what I found at least with speaking is it just filled a part of me that nothing else could fill, and that once I actually started doing it more consistently, I realized that it was at least this purpose I had been subconsciously chasing for the past who knows how long. While finding your purpose can at least seem hard, I realized that it necessarily isn't about digging into it and trying to find this one thing you're really good at, but just exploring many topics and just seeing which ones fit you, and over the time while you do it, it starts to connect with you in a way where you truly bond with it and you realize just how this could be your purpose that really fulfills you and can drive through your whole entire life. I would say nothing the first time you're going to do it is going to truly give you a good click and make it understanding, and with that idea of purpose, that true purpose that you might want to chase. But once you have a bunch of options at your disposal and try so many different things, it's only then can you actually have the idea of, oh wait, this thing that I've been doing just kind of as a hobby is turning into this idea that I just really truly love. Why I feel like finding a purpose, at least, is just a good motivator to keep you going through life in a happy regard. I've had my ups and I've had my plenty of downs, and I felt like the reasons I've had my downs is especially just when it feels like there's not that purpose for you to fulfill. I would say it's probably some human subconscious thing or something like that, but I would say there's this idea where you want to fulfill a purpose so people can see that you're needed and that you're special. Now, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, we're all special because if you just think about it, we're 1 in 8 billion because there's 8 billion unique people, so in that idea of special, it doesn't really matter. But finding that purpose that makes you stand out from the crowd is, I would say, that really slam dunk that just makes that idea really want to go through, where you are a cool purpose and you can really show it off. For me, in those low moments is where I really just felt and looked at myself and felt like I had no purpose in that regard of something that truly felt like myself and that I can express it and it can feel like me and not just something robotic. I felt like, at least throughout my life, a lot of the stuff that gave me purpose just felt like that robotic thing to either A, stand out, or B, just be normal and people to see, oh hey, look at that cool interest that guy has. But for me in my journey and just figuring out who I am, and once I got to what I said before about just talking and doing a bit of public speaking, that's really where that purpose hit in a way of not necessarily trying to find it, but it naturally coming into my life and realizing that it was my purpose just because I sat back and relaxed and wasn't trying to make it my purpose. With that public speaking example, I was one who hated it and thought it was never a useful skill and that I would never ever want to touch it and just stay in my little corner of being my lonesome self not talking that much. Now I can completely disagree with that statement, but it was only because I didn't want to chase that purpose is when it naturally came to me, and I feel like gave me the keys to ignition my life in a way where I can just continue on going and not have to keep refueling for gas trying to find a purpose. That right there is what I really struggled with, is at every moment I felt like I had to stop my own car of life and had to refill it with some sort of purpose to just go on for a few more miles, then stop, then reevaluate, then try and find a new purpose. Now, I would say this is a good way to try and find a purpose that resonates with you. And it might not necessarily be a big thing, it might be a small thing. A purpose isn't some definitive thing where you have to be an actor, you have to talk in front of people and stuff. It's just about a thing that I would say is keeps your car going of life, and for you to be happy that it's making you continually going. It could be maybe a role you got, it could maybe be a person in your life, it could maybe just be a thing you find really cool and use. But it's right there that I feel like is very important, of just something you can recognize as important and fulfills you in a way that nothing else will. But this is definitely a thing where once you have that purpose, it's not all game over where everything is smooth sailing. There's still so many things you're going to go through and so many new things you're going to find that might be a new purpose and might add on purpose to the one thing you felt like you needed. Because purpose, I would say at the end of the day, is a concept where it just keeps adding and adding once you keep on finding stuff. And then at the end, you can just find all these things that fueled you through life and be happy for them and glad that, hey, I was able to go through all these different things and find purpose in all of them and find those key ones that kept me going. That right there is, I would say, something that everyone should strive for, so they know that when they're able to live their life, at the end you're able to look back properly and be happy and not necessarily sad you didn't find the thing that clicked. Now, that doesn't mean that you're always going to instantly find your purpose. My journey was just because I found it by just trial and error, and sometimes it may take long to find something that truly resonates with you. But it's that idea of being persistent and having that idea of you don't need a huge purpose to keep going. A purpose can be something small or big, and it's just whatever makes you feel like you and makes you just want to continue being yourself and showing what you can do to others. If everyone wants to try and be unique and show off what they can do, I believe everyone has unique skills that sometimes are never shown. And sometimes you just have to branch out and try new things. And hey, you might even get a purpose that you never even realized was there for you, or a skill you never even realized, and now you're able to use it and better your life. That right there is what I really just want to be able to tell people is, you just have to live your life and find those things to connect to it, to give you purpose, to keep on going, and then being able to look back at any time in your life and just be like, I'm glad I had those things to keep me going. That right there is the mindset that I really want to be able just to spread with people and hope that people can just be able to understand why I find it important. Anyways, that's going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.